You're listening to the Empowered Woman, Badass and Unfiltered podcast, a place for inspiration, empowerment, and personal development, showcasing badass women from all over the world, giving tips on personal development, mindset, and healing. I'm your host, Olivia, transformational success coach for spiritual female entrepreneurs. Now let's dive into this episode.
Welcome back to the Empowered Woman, Badass and Unfiltered podcast. Your host, Olivia here, and today we will be talking about habits that negatively impact your life. This whole month I've been talking about good habits, all the right things. Well, let's talk about the wrong things that we do all the time and the things that we should try to avoid. Any habits that can turn into an addiction is a habit that will negatively impact your life. The second type of habits that negatively impact your life are habits that make you a liability. Habits that like cause your health to decline, habits that make you not as present, make you under the influence of things. Anything that makes you a liability, those are not positive habits to have. The next thing I said was to take anything that takes away from your health. Any habit that takes away from your health, which can also be like habits that make you a liability, but there's some habits that make you a liability that don't take away from your health. So that's why I need to say it more clearly. So, smoking takes away from your health. Impulse control. Let's talk about impulse control. When you have habits that do not promote, we've got to get better at our impulse control and delayed gratification as a society. And when you have habits that do not promote delayed gratification, which, for instance, working out, that promotes delayed gratification. However, it promotes such a healthier lifestyle. All of these habits that are dopamine hits, the habits of scrolling through social media, the habits of, overspending, the habits of gambling, the habits of drinking, the habits of smoking, the habits of whatever drug, anything that gives you instant gratification. Those are habits that you got to be mindful of and try to decrease as much as you can. Now, what are some habits that you believe negatively impact your life or other people's lives that I did not include in this list? Please reach out to me, let me know. And with all of that being said, keep these things in mind and go out and be a badass.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Empowered Woman, Badass and Unfiltered podcast. If you found any value in this, please consider sharing and subscribing. Now go out and be a badass.